before the First World War, a royal match with his second cousin, Princess Victoria Louise of Prussia, was suggested. Nothing came of it, and Victoria Louise married Edward's first cousin, once removed Ernest Augustus, Duke of Brunswick, instead. In 1934, Adolf Hitler, in his ambition to link the British and German royal houses, asked Princess Victoria Louise to arrange a marriage between the 40-year-old Edward and her 17-year-old daughter, Frederica of Hanover, who was at boarding school in England. Her parents refused, due to the age gap, and Frederica instead married Paul of Greece. Quote, by 1917, Edward liked to spend time partying in Paris while he was on leave from his regiment on the Western Front. He was introduced to Parisian courtesan Marguerite Alibert, with whom he became infatuated. He wrote her candid letters, which she kept. After about a year, Edward broke off the affair. In 1923, Alibert was acquitted in a spectacular murder trial after she shot her husband in the Savoy Hotel. Desperate efforts were made by the royal household to ensure that Edward's name was not mentioned in connection with the trial or Alibert. Edward's womanizing and reckless behavior during the 1920s and 1930s worried Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin, King George V, and those close to the prince. George V was disappointed by his son's failure to settle down in life, disgusted by his affairs with married women, and reluctant to see him inherit the crown. After I am dead, George said, the boy will ruin himself in 12 months. George V favored his second son Albert, Bertie, and Albert's daughter Elizabeth, Lilibet, later King George VI and Queen Elizabeth II respectively. He told a courtier, I pray to God that my eldest son will never marry and have children, and that nothing will come between Bertie and Lilibet and the throne. In 1929, Time magazine reported that Edward teased Albert's wife, also named Elizabeth, later the Queen Mother, by calling her Queen Elizabeth. The magazine asked if she did not sometimes wonder how much truth there is in the story that he once said he would renounce his rights upon the death of George V, which would make her nickname come true. In 1930, George V gave Edward the lease of Fort Belvedere in Windsor Great Park. There, he continued his relationships with a series of married women, including Freda Dudley Ward and Lady Furness, the American wife of a British peer, who introduced the prince to her friend and fellow American Wallis Simpson. Simpson had divorced her first husband, U.S. Navy officer Win Spencer, in 1927. Her second husband, Ernest Simpson, was a British-American businessman. Wallis Simpson and the Prince of Wales, it is generally accepted, became lovers, while Lady Furness travelled abroad. Although the prince adamantly insisted to his father that he was not having an affair with her and that it was not appropriate to describe her as his mistress. Edward's relationship with Simpson, however, further weakened his poor relationship with his father. Although his parents met Simpson at Buckingham Palace in 1935, they later refused to receive her. Edward's affair with an American divorcee led to such grave concern that the couple were followed by members of the Metropolitan Police Special Branch, who examined in secret the nature of their relationship. An undated report detailed a visit by the couple to an antique shop, where the proprietor later noted that the lady seemed to have POW, Prince of Wales, completely under her thumb. The prospect of having an American divorcee with a questionable past having such sway over the heir apparent led to anxiety among government and establishment figures.